Are you posing to start?
No, I was getting ready to take a sip. Vincent, stop hitting the brakes. Let him hit the gas.
All right, so we are the Romantics. We're a creative group doing several projects at one time, including this podcast and a web series also known as The Romantics, which is what we attempt to discuss our experiences related to those things during these podcasts. My name is Wes. This is...
Aaron. Damn it. Aaron.
Did one job, Aaron.
One
job. Just say your name correctly.
This is...
I'm Vincent.
And this is...
I'm Dan.
Okay. So now that we've got the confusing intro out of the way, I'm just going to give you guys a little outline of what we're going to go over today, or try to go over. As you know, we ramble a lot. So we got a new setup here that we're testing out. So there are definitely sure to be some hiccups along the way until we get used to the stuff. But today we're going to answer the questions that we had from the last podcast on YouTube and also on the website. And when we start getting more of those, we'll pick out the best ones and the ones that we have time to do. And if you have any questions of any kind related to this podcast, our web series, or any of our film or media related stuff, or just advice you want, anything, feel free to post a question on YouTube, on our comments, or on our website on the podcast posts. So for this podcast, when it comes out on the website, you would go to the bottom of the blog and just post a comment there. You don't have to sign up for the website or anything to do that. It just asks you for a username when you write it, and that's all you got to do. And we will, again, pick the best ones out and use them in our podcast and give you guys a shout out.
And it's not if they're not the best. If they're not the best, it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that you've lost.
Yep.
And they are bad.
So don't feel
it
bad.
does mean they're
Don't
bad.
feel bad about it, though. I mean, there are a lot of losers.
It doesn't make you less of a person. It just makes you less compatible with society and the
As a person.
and the internet.
Which is the only thing that matters.
There's a lot riding on those words that you say.
We're actually not mean.
I got coffee on my microphone.
Aaron, this is a new setup, and you're ruining it.
Dead air. It's not supposed to happen. I know that's a rule. That's a rule, man.
He looks
Go.
scolded.
Please
He looked
go.
very scolded. All right, so that's pretty much it.
We all felt the weight of
our
punishment.
topic today is going to be Aaron is going to talk about his influences that determined his writing style. I had a few comments about the way that you write things, and kind of related to when they see or hear dialogue, they know that it was Aaron. So I thought that was a pretty interesting comment.
Is that something I should feel good about, or
I think it's something you should feel very good about.
Yeah, that's awesome. It means you
And
have
the response to that was Dan's line in the last episode about the butter boats. Yeah, so
Yeah.
and then after that, we're going to talk about whatever the heck we want. So let's move on to Aaron.
okay? So I am now talking about my influences. You said, right?
I was on
Sure.
receipts.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Yes.
No,
so-
you're going through receipts is what you're doing.
Well, this is pertinent. This is my writing process. Larry David keeps a little notebook and pen or pencil on him at all times. I was doing that for a while, and then ended up using my notebook as a prop in our other project, so I no longer can touch it. So in the meantime, I was using receipts and bank deposit slips. Oops, better not show that one on camera. To write jokes and ideas. And let me, real quick before we start, just read you one of my jokes that I was going to try to shoehorn into one of our episodes, but I don't see it working.
Could
so.
you please define what a shoehorn is?
A shoehorn is a curved, flat, smooth piece of metal that you put in the back of your shoe so you can jam your foot in.
or plastic.
It's curved and flat?
In post-war America, or I guess the Western civilization, it can be plastic.
You just wanted to say Western civilization.
Actually,
on the
I have a
podcast.
plastic one in the garage that's about 4 feet long.
In fact, I bet they have them everywhere that are plastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is plastic and it is
Well-
blue. I never use it.
The shoehorn that I used to fit in the jokes into my episodes is a metal one.
It's a metaphorical shoehorn.
Metaphorical metal shoehorn.
good.
Okay.
That's good.
So here's the joke. And I wrote this maybe a year ago.
And you still have that?
Oh yeah, my wallet was filled with these, and then I came to the realization that if I was ever killed or ever in a serious accident, people would see the filth that I had written on receipts in my wallet.
So you just had a Costanza full of Full of
full
jokes.
of disgusting little non sequiturs. Here we go. God, I'm so horny. The inspiring kind of horny, you know. I want to crab walk out into the middle of a fertile green field and do hip thrusts to the sky until I impregnate the universe with my positivity. And that's...
I'm sure people read them. Way if you do die and people read them, then I'm
No
sure
one says anything.
like your obituary is just gonna say something really super weird.
Aaron died a pervert.
Yep.
He was always a pervert. And he hid this well from his family. It
Ladies
was
and
only
gentlemen.
after his death that we discovered he was such a pervert.
We just want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and if you would do us all a favor and comment on the bottom under the video, that would be lovely.
Make us feel like we're people.
So, some of my writing influences.
I mean, Aaron, not us.
So, Aaron, wait, let's back it up a little
Yeah,
bit. We were talking about your creative process. So your creative process is to write things on receipts.
Actually, yeah, this is something that is good to talk about because there are a lot of people out there that believe you start with story and script and that you build jokes around that. And if you have little jokes or little bits of dialogue and you try to fit it in somewhere, that you wind up with something really unnatural sounding. I think that's a fine rule for some people, but I like writing little jokes, so I'll continue to do it that way.
Well, last weekend we were talking about Arrested Development, and I feel like probably between 40 and 60% of not just the dialogue, but everything that happens in that show revolves around, on an episode-to-episode basis, revolves around some kind of pun. And I think it would be impossible to approach that from a story first perspective. I think maybe they have both of those things going on at the same time. Like they have things they definitely want to happen in the show because it is episodic. But I absolutely think that they have, puns in mind.
Yeah, that's how I think Larry David and Seinfeld did it. Like I said, Larry David had his little notebook, and they had just these little social exchanges that he thought these little social exchanges were funny enough that he could build a whole story on them. And so that's how Seinfeld was done.
Right.
So
Yeah, those entire shows are typically about one joke.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole show is one joke being
Right.
done.
It's like a scenario or
Right.
someone's neurosis or something, but it's all expressed as,
Yeah.
this funny thing happened or somebody said something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
They just extrapolate it until it's super uncomfortable.
Like Close Talkers. That was half an episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a good episode.
that's
too.
a thing for me, too.
Yeah, me as well.
I can't stand somebody to talk to me that close.
Well, I just don't like dicks.
Well,
Wait,
if
wait,
you
wait.
don't like dicks being that close.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's natural.
Well, I mean, jerks. People that are jerks.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, as far as like the rest of the process goes, I actually struggle with I think a lot of people think this is silly, but it's not silly. It kind of sucks. The seasonal depression is a serious issue. And so anytime it comes time to write something during, that 6 months where it kind of sucks outside, I have a lot of struggling just to get to the keyboard. So it's not even like writer's block. It's like a block before I even can get to writer's block. And so the little, sorry about that pop, the little receipts and the notebook really help keep me, it helps keep me in like a casual place so I feel comfortable to write. That way I'm not having to sit down and, pound out a story or pound out some dialogue. I can just be more easygoing with it. And that's typically when the stuff comes more natural. When I was working at the restaurant, it was like every time a customer would leave, I would, take their receipt that they didn't want and, just start writing silly little things down.
Well, that sounds good too because it means that your process of creativity doesn't have to stop just because your process of production stops.
Right. Yeah. And the biggest challenge for me is simply just making myself write, sitting down and trying to, either get an outline done or simply just get an episode written. I don't understand why it's so hard, but I'm still struggling with it. And I think it comes from years of practicing procrastination in school.
I think a good thing about that too is you end up with a lot of material. Like it might not all be usable for specific things, but if you do that all the time when you think about stuff, we were talking about this a while back. We started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I remember having a conversation with you about how, like, since we started watching that show, we were just having ideas left and right because it's just that kind of show. It's like watching Seinfeld, and we had our minds on this filmmaking thing, and we hadn't started season 2 of Romantics yet, and Aaron was trying to come up with stuff. And man, we were both just getting tons of ideas, and I was like, why are we not writing these things down every time they pop in our head?
Yeah.
If you're someone who is doing any kind of script writing at all, you need to do that. You need a notebook in your pocket all the time, and if you think of even anything, even if it seems dumb, if it seems like an idea, write it down, because you can always go through that stuff later. It'll give you new ideas when you go back through it.
Yeah.
You'll see it from a different point of view later and be able to get rid of some of it and keep some of it. And also, I mean, like even on the show, I know even though Larry David joked about it, I know he does it, but even in that show, he talked about his little notebook that he lost that had like 10 years worth of ideas in it.
It's definitely a big thing for him. They even cover it in Seinfeld. Jerry writes down a little joke in the middle of the night. He wakes up at like 3 a.m.
I couldn't read it.
Yeah, and he writes down a little joke on a piece of paper and laughs, goes back to sleep, and he wakes up just completely irate that he can't figure it out. I think they covered it in another episode as well.
That also happened in an episode of Mad Men.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Don. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Don. It was the television guy.
Oh yeah. Crane. Harry
Crane.
Yeah, I was thinking of the time when Don was having trouble with that one ad, and he was like in bed, even writing stuff, and somebody else ended up solving his problem for him. And I think he stole it.
I love that actor that plays
the character.
Crane.
Yeah, he's the board game geek guy that
really. I love the way he looks now in the current season.
I am still trying to get through season 5 because it just went. Oh my gosh! It was not on Netflix.
Yeah, it just showed up all of a sudden.
Right. I don't.
You got to get to it, man, because the newest season is like totally 70s looking. They're like moving into that 70s style.
Yeah.
And you were talking about before how you kind of didn't really like that at first when you were thinking season 5 was starting to not look as cool because it wasn't.
I was so in love with the look of season 1 and 2.
Right.
That, around season 3, when it starts to change and the wardrobe starts to change a little bit, I was not ready for it to move on.
You just like Fallout a lot, I think.
What?
Fallout. The game.
Because it's like the nuclear era American dream.
Yeah. It's but dude, when they came back around and they like last season that you're watching, you can start seeing the 70s. Yeah. The stuff that moves into the 70s influence, but now in this season, because they're in advertising, they're kind of at the cutting edge of what people are doing and looking like.
Right.
It looks 70s, what I remember as 70s, and it's very cool.
How far is it supposed to go? It's supposed to go up until...
Who knows? It's like every episode, every season has been a year approximately.
I thought they were originally going to do 6 seasons. I don't know. I watch Matthew Weiner interviews all the time, and I think I've seen everything out there, and I swear I remember him saying something about 5 or 6 seasons, but it sounds like he'll do it until they tell him to stop.
Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say that partly for that reason, I'm really looking forward to the new X-Men movie.
Oh yeah.
Although I'm not like ridiculously thrilled about Bryan Singer coming back because I don't feel like he has a lot of. I don't think he treats his projects with a lot of integrity all the time, and I think he gets kind of caught up in his own shtick. But at the same time, like I'm really excited about them doing Days of Future Past and having it be in that era and look really cool.
I'm excited every time a new one comes out. Like even if I think it's going to be bad, I'll watch it anyway and enjoy it enough to. I mean, it's X-Men. It's like
Man of Steel is your last chance, Zack Snyder. You're either gonna make it or you're gonna blow it with me. This is your one chance.
Yep, absolutely.
That trailer,
what it looks like. It looks like it's gonna be awesome.
That trailer made me almost cry a little bit.
That trailer does look pretty amazing.
I liked the movie that he did with the owls, but yeah, I agree that trailer.
I haven't seen that movie.
It won't be until the Academy starts giving awards or Oscars to people that cut trailers. It won't be until that day that people stop being fooled by them. I fell in love with the Superbad trailer. Not Superbad. Pineapple Express. I thought it was one of the funniest trailers I'd ever seen. Watched the movie.
Was the whole movie.
And I wanted my money back.
Well, and they made Adventureland. If you ever saw Adventureland, they made that movie look like a laugh riot.
Right.
And it's really not. I don't want to turn anybody off to it because it's a good movie.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
But it's like it reminded me of the Wonder Years, but it's actually not even as funny as the Wonder Years. It's more.
Yeah, it has
moody.
a serious undertone to it.
Yeah, it really does.
I actually really like that movie, though.
I like it,
That
too.
was the first thing I saw Jesse Eisenberg in.
It was one of the first movies that made me realize that I kind of like Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. I actually like Ryan Reynolds, too. I hate to admit
I like
it,
him a lot.
He's a goofball and everything. It seems like it comes through his character kind of when it shouldn't.
I liked him in Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place.
He's a face. He's a face that just makes me
I don't know
laugh.
why that's funny.
Just looking at it makes me laugh.
Yeah, but like as Deadpool, it's kind of
I mean, that first appearance.
yeah.
But I don't want to talk about that movie ever again. I don't really. I'm having a hard time considering you a friend right now. Wes,
What
for
about
bringing that up?
No, I was saying that as a bad thing. Actually, I didn't mean to bring it up.
Well, no, I
and
thought
hurt you there.
Like when he was walking around, like saying the dialogue and stuff, I was like, all right, okay. But then they did that thing at the end. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
Yes,
about this.
yes, I know what you're
I don't
talking
want
about.
that for them. I don't want that
That
for
was
us.
awful.
I didn't see it. I'm not gonna see it.
Yeah, it's
You're-
pointless.
You're okay. It was pointless.
It'll just irritate you.
You saw it First Class though, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
a
it was
lot.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about. Oh, did you see Green Arrow with Ryan Reynolds?
Green Lantern.
I mean Green Lantern. Yeah.
No, I
Green
didn't.
Arrow.
Heard that
You
was
didn't?
crap.
I didn't see it.
I actually liked it, but again, I think he's too goofy to
Yeah.
play it.
I'm not gonna see that one either. I feel like I feel like Hollywood is trying to manipulate my nerdy side by just cranking out those superhero.
Well, they
movies.
kind of are now.
I'll see Ant-Man and I'll see Avengers 2, Iron Man 3, and that's probably it.
I'll see Ant-Man just because it's Edgar Wright is directing
Oh
it.
yeah.
And I think he's just phenomenal. I didn't have any real interest in Scott Pilgrim as a franchise, but I went and saw that movie, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I can't believe how much I like that movie. I was not expecting to like it.
I was resistant.
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
see
Adria
it.
actually got me that movie either for my birthday or for Christmas. I can't remember, but I love
I
that
thought it was
movie.
actually fairly touching, along with being super funny. And
We
just
played
really
we
gorgeous
played
to
the
look at.
little.
Has anybody played the game?
Yeah, we
the
played the
game is
little
pretty fun.
River
Oh, it was
City
wicked-
Ransom
it was
copy.
wicked fun. Yeah.
It's really good.
And it has what, like 2 or 3 books, or how many books are like little?
There's like 8
comics
or
they have.
9 volumes of the little
Right.
fake
Yeah.
manga.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Who's the author in that? Like Philip O'Malley or something?
That sounds approximately right. I don't
Sounds
Yeah.
like a person.
Oh well, whoops. I mean, we just outed ourselves as fake nerds. Whoops.
You can't know it all.
Oh my gosh, can you do that one more time for me?
Nope.
Hold on. Everybody shut up. I want to hear it one more time.
Aaron, I'm not going to be able to oblige you.
Whatever. Later.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, after the podcast.
You should encourage it.
Okay, so what are we talking
We're
about?
talking
what was the
about
topic?
we're talking about your writing influences.
Oh,
And then we
okay.
started talking about Edgar Wright, which we can talk about more if you want.
Edgar Wright kind of is. I mean, I watched both seasons of Spaced after seeing Hot
man.
Fuzz.
it's an awesome movie. I'm
It's
sure.
really awesome.
Yeah,
And movie.
I didn't think it was funny as his movies, but I did think some of the like little shtick that they did in those episodes were incredible. Like there's an episode where Simon Pegg and his roommate are coming home from a bar and they cross a dark alley, and there's a group of like 5 or 6 teenagers who are up to no good, and everything goes into slow-mo, but it's not the camera doing the slow-mo, it's everybody just acting like they're in slow-mo. And then one of the punk kids reaches in his shirt and pulls out a finger pistol, and they all pull out their finger pistols and just start blowing the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And like anytime someone's shot, they do the sound effects. So
It's like that old Xbox commercial that they had, where the 2 guys meet in a subway and they bump into each
Oh,
other,
yeah.
and then they have like that do the standoff, and then this
Right.
entire subway system like filled with people that all start like have this giant Mexican standoff between like 200 people.
Was
Yeah,
that-
it's
yeah.
really
So
awesome.
it's-
If
was that
you-
the first Xbox?
Yeah, if you look up, if you go on YouTube, which hopefully you're already on and watching this program, and you search,
No, do it now. Finish watching this.
Yeah, finish watching this. But if you search banned
Yeah, banned Xbox.
banned
commercial.
Xbox commercial, it should be
Yeah.
one of the first couple hits. But it's pretty funny.
I wonder if that came before Spaced, that episode.
It was-
I mean,
I don't know. It was a while back.
I don't know. Space is pretty old too, though.
and I don't really. I mean, everybody has to rip off somebody or riff on somebody else. So, but I mean, I kind of loved that show even more because I thought they were the first person to do that. I thought it was such a genius little scene.
They might have been, or even if they weren't, they might have not known anything about that commercial.
It's my favorite part of that show.
I think everyone who was inclined to do physical comedy there for a while did something that was inspired or influenced by The Matrix.
Yeah,
Just like everybody, like right after The Matrix came out, like Equilibrium came out, and Underworld, and those are movies that are not exactly the same. They don't try to do the same things exactly. I just said exactly at least a couple times, but they, they have really like dynamic kind of gimmicks that they like punctuate all their action scenes with the same
Right.
way that The Matrix did, and they do some similar editing and things. So I think like a lot of people were probably inspired to do funny things that were related to that too. So.
I guess, yeah, maybe. I guess it did have a bit of a Matrix feel because it's a gun scene in slow mo.
The Matrix changed almost everything in action films.
Yeah, it's wild. And in media. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's Keanu's new movie that he's actually directing this time? Everybody that's an action fan is pumped over it.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. He's doing that weird camera thing.
They're using a programmable robotic arm to attach the camera to, and it can spin around to get any angle on the fly at super speed.
Weird.
So they record all these action scenes with no cuts. They simply use the camera to like spin around the action in
That's
360. Awesome. It's either going to make everybody vomit or it's going to like redefine action movies for the next 5 years.
That sounds like something someone would have thought of years ago, but I've never heard of.
Well, there's a firm, an advertising firm that does slow-mo commercials for people. They do super high quality, oh my gosh, HD commercials of, like coffee mugs falling and breaking and liquid going everywhere.
There's a video about that. Yeah.
I think it was a YouTube video. Yeah. So they just spend all their time trying to capture, 3 seconds of a thing fall. Anyway, they have that robotic arm, and I think that's the same one they're using.
Why don't we have one of those?
Oh yeah, Man of Tai Chi. That's it. Yeah, I wonder. I'll see it in the theater, but I imagine I'll have a hard time keeping my lunch.
I'm sure it would depend on how they edited it. I would think that they would like all that. Watching all the handycam stuff always makes me feel sick.
Yeah,
they did a bunch like the
Jason Bourne stuff.
Yeah.
What was that movie that was like a horror film?
Cloverfield.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah,
man, if they hadn't done that movie would have been okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it, but the shaky cam stuff drove me nuts.
Yeah, so. I'm a little bit irritated at the shaky cam because it's almost like now if you want to do an action movie, you have to film your action scenes in that style. Do
you remember years ago? I mean, this was before Matrix even. I remember having a conversation with you about being tired of this new super close up action scene crap that everybody was doing, where everything is a really quick clip of like an arm or I hate that stuff.
I was about to bring this up, where it's just like a montage of those things. So you don't know actually what's going on.
You can barely tell what's going on.
I feel cheated by a lot of action. I feel like they're kind of moving away from that because technology is allowing them to do some of these things in a more literal way and show more without it looking goofy, and so they don't have to cover it up with speed and crazy and shaky cam and just other like crazy things that. It's a little bit like what you were talking about last week with editing, where there are a lot of things that try to fool you into thinking that something that's actually really blasé is really entertaining, just because it kind of keeps your mind going or keeps you refocusing on what's happening in the frame. Yeah. And I think that a lot of action films do that with like the close up on the arm, or there's like motion blur of two bodies moving around, but you can't actually see what they're doing.
Spider-Man 3 was one of the worst things I've ever seen because of that.
I actually think those Bay Transformers movies, when they get together, there's a lot of like tumbling and colors.
I can't tell. When I had a comment about it. It's funny you mentioned that because there's a scene in, I only ever watched the first Transformers all the way through. The second one, I saw 30 minutes of it when somebody else was watching it. Actually, Adria's dad. And I remember seeing a scene, and I think it was in the second one, where all these Transformers are fighting while they're rolling down this forested hill. I never could tell.
I don't remember.
I could never tell.
Just like looked like somebody spilled a bunch of Legos.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell what was a good guy and what was a bad guy.
It just looked like a junkyard having an orgy.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of things that might be robots. I can't tell, flipping and fighting and doing all this weird stuff. I didn't understand any of it. So.
I'd like to remind Vincent and our viewers that this is a family program.
Yeah, well, kind of. We're trying to keep the profanity down, but
I don't think anybody.
Some of those things are gonna slip. You said "damn" right at the beginning, but I don't know if that counts.
Damn is such an elegant, nice word. I think it's the opposite of a curse word. I love it.
I grew up on a farm with several.
Water too.
I grew up on a farm with several dams, and so I was able to get away with that at an early age.
Yeah, absolutely. My grandfather was kind of like a Don Draper type of character. He always had a little thing of scotch and water in his hand, and I remember him doing like garage projects while holding his scotch and like, catching his finger and going, "Oh, damn it!" And I'm thinking, "Oh, I can't wait till I get to say that."
It'd be so cool. Craig from South Park. If I could say that, I'd be so happy.
That's awesome.
So, Aaron, any other like literary influences?
Okay, yeah, I'll throw out like just a bunch. We don't have to actually talk about them, but of course, Seinfeld, Arrested Development, as far as shows go. 30 Rock, kind of. I like Tina Fey and her book Bossy Pants. I thought was a really fun, inspiring read. My favorite author, J.D. Salinger.
Which book? Which one's your favorite?
Franny and Zoe.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's one of mine too. It's really awesome.
And you might, I don't know if you want to say this or not.
No.
There's a lot of. Didn't you have something in a romantics episode though? I thought you did.
Possibly.
Can't even remember now. I thought there was some kind of alliteration to that in a romantics episode.
No.
Is that the correct word?
No.
Allusion.
Illusion.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
Also, I can't really say this author is an inspiration, but his book definitely was. And my dad always said it was his favorite book growing up. I think he read maybe 30 pages of it. He just thought it was funny to tell people it was his favorite book. But the book is Portnoy's Complaint.
Oh, yes.
By Philip Roth.
I think I have your copy of that book.
Yes,
somewhere.
you do. Yeah, you should go ahead and read it. Anyway.
You might want to give people
see.
a little warning about kind of what that book's about before they go and pick it up.
It was a banned book for a couple of years. It is considered to be one of the greatest American novels.
Hickey Sticky. Look it up on a wiki.
Let's just talk. I mean,
Yeah, we can talk about it.
we've
Just-
warning if you don't like talking about uncomfortable things or hearing uncomfortable conversations, skip the next 30 seconds. Portnoy's Complaint is about a guy simply complaining the entire time through the book. He's complaining about his life, and a lot of those complaints have to do with his overbearing Jewish mother, his constipated Jewish father, and his inability to get himself to stop masturbating. So it is filled with some of the funniest tales of masturbation and like first encounters of sex. It's incredibly funny. When I read it though, it helped me just feel like a normal person. Not saying that I'm some kind of weird deviant or anything, but a little bit. I just liked how frank it was, and I can't really remember why else it inspired me. So maybe I shouldn't have actually written that one down.
Well, I mean,
Anyway.
I think that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
While you're at it, would you like to also recommend Henry Miller and Anais Nin to our viewers?
I can't speak on that. You can.
We don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just making a little joke about some sexy books.
I tried to read Tropic of Cancer, but I got 2 pages in and thought, no, this is not going to work. Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. I can't remember one of those.
I like Tropic of Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Of Thunder.
Tropic of Thunder. That's a good one.
That one was written by Jack Black.
Vincent is drinking from a cocktail cup used for mixing different cocktails, and he's got a cherry limeade in there. I thought he actually went into the other room and whipped himself up a little cocktail.
Fixed himself a drink.
There's something about that glass and the lettering and stuff on it that makes that look delicious to me.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know why,
It's
but
quite
it really
delicious.
does. It looks amazing.
It's a lovely color.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
And
It's beautiful.
next, Aaron.
As far as like comedy influences go, I really enjoy situational stuff. I do not enjoy Will Ferrell movies. I can do a little bit of slapstick. Typically, I like Farrelly Brothers' version of slapstick. I can't stand the Three Stooges. So I prefer neurotic humor. Typically, if suffering is really funny to me. I feel really bad about this, but I love poop jokes, and seeing somebody gag will make me laugh for hours on end.
Which is why you like to pull pranks on people that make them gag.
Yeah.
Especially your family.
Yeah. This is really bad, and this is probably going to turn some people off of me, but back when I was 17, 16, you were living there at the time. I think that was my senior year. I was 17. Wes and I...
1716 was like
That's what I was...
300 years ago.
When he said 1716, I was like, what is this story
Are
gonna
you
be about?
Are you a vampire? I've never seen Aaron outside.
That's not true. We just spent an entire morning outside together.
I lied about that.
Okay.
So anyway...
17 years old. Wes is living in my room. We have a very small, it's like a 12 by 12 room. We have a bunk bed taking up one entire wall. We have my computer entertainment center taking up the rest of the wall. Wes's sleeping recliner thing that was broken in half.
The back of it was broken, so I had to put it against the wall so that the back wouldn't fall off of it while I was sleeping in it.
He refused to sleep in the second bunk. There were 2 beds. He slept in a broken ass chair.
Because I had a strange, like, phobia that the top was going to break and I was going to fall down and kill Aaron.
It wouldn't have killed me.
Well, it would have hurt.
It might have collapsed on me. I've seen it do it probably 30, 40
and
times.
I wasn't a small person at that time, especially.
At that time, you were.
I was like 225 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I weigh like 212 or 210 right now.
My vision or my memory of things is different, but yeah, you're right because you were skinny up until 21.
So Vincent, you remember?
Until I hurt my back in the army.
Remember our childhood experiences that we had together last year?
Okay, so hold on. I'm sorry.
Last year.
I'm getting to something.
Last October.
So I would, before Reddit and before 4chan and all that, there was a website called steakandcheese.com.
I didn't know that this was going to be this story.
Do not go. Oh, yeah. Let's just edit this. I'm going to edit myself.
Keep going. We got to finish it now. People want to know.
To finish.
Yeah, you can't start a story.
I want to know. I want the
That's
information.
terrible.
I want the information.
I did not mean to find this picture. I did not know what the picture was going to be when I clicked on it.
It was a text line.
And the title was Poop Faced. I thought it was going to be a very drunk person.
No.
And I was going to look at this drunk person and laugh because they probably had, some spit up on their chest or something. No. It turns out it was a very literal title. And the picture was 3 times the size of my monitor. And I gagged fairly hard when I saw it. Wes was not in the room, so I quickly hit back, waited for Wes to come in and said, Wes, I need you to look at something really quick. I hit forward with my hand over my eyes. He saw it, nearly punched me in the side of the neck, and we instantly thought, let's get my mom and sister in there. They got to see this. And that's all. That's the end of that story.
Wait, did you show your mom and your sister?
But what happened?
Yes.
What happened to your mom and your sister?
Yeah, what happened to your mom and your sister?
Oh, they each gagged. It was great.
So Aaron, do you think that that's where the term gag comes from? Do you think that's why that's a practical joke?
Yes,
Ooh.
I do think so. I've never thought of it, but my initial inclination is to say yes. I believe that's true.
Do you think that I asked you that because I wanted to know, or because it was rhetoric?
I'm having a hard time.
It's a trap.
Okay, so I think that's about it for influences. I could talk forever about that stuff, but
How about this? If it were the other way around and you could influence someone, who would it be?
That's the weirdest ass question I've ever heard.
Yep.
I would like to influence this guy named Bobby Davidson. He lives in Fort Worth. He's only like 3 right now. But he's going to grow up and, be into some of the same things I am. And, I think it would be kind of cool to influence him if he was a real boy. I don't know. How do you answer that question?
That was good. I mean, you shouldn't have.
I should have let you.
You should have just left it. You should have told me after the cast.
When you write, do you like writing better on paper or like on the computer or a typewriter or something?
I prefer to hand write everything, but it's not really feasible. And the best way is to just sit down, open up open office document or a Word document and just do it. I don't use any kind of script writing program. Maybe I should, because a typical script page comes out to about like 44 or 45 seconds. And mine always come out to about 1:15 because I don't have a lot of scene description. I don't use any of the spacing or punctuation that I'm supposed to. So it's just mostly dialogue. And it kind of makes things hard. Knowing, like if we're supposed to shoot for a 7-minute episode or a 5-minute episode, don't really know what's going to happen until I'm like halfway done editing the thing.
Part of the problem with that, though, we were talking about the other day, you were going to try to storyboard some stuff to make sure we had it right. And it's just impossible because we don't have a set. Every time we go out to shoot, we're literally like finding the location as we're going out to shoot it.
I sat down to storyboard and I got 2 shots storyboarded. I used the shots, but it was like I was racking my brain trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah,
so what we end up doing is making the do with what we got because we're doing this in like a week every time. We go out and shoot and then there's a week to edit and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, my homework for this week is going to be trying to find a few online resources that talk about scene development as far as like from a visual angle,
Yeah, and just as an example, we had to reshoot 2 scenes this morning from last week. 3.5,
4 hours.
Yeah,
was gonna take 2.
Yeah, we had to add some stuff on because we just had some stuff that just didn't come out right. And being the 4 of us, we don't have anybody to go out and like set stuff up for us or.
Yeah, that's
It takes a lot of extra time. I mean, you go out to do something, if you're going to shoot a scene that's 30 seconds long, it takes like an hour and a half.
Right. And I think that's a fairly good segue into like our next conversation. Like what happened last week?
Oh,
you think?
Yeah, go for it.
What the hell did happen last week, Aaron?
Yeah. Explain
Because
yourself.
I don't know, actually.
Last week was what, like 85?
Yeah, it was 85, 86 degrees.
It was roughly the surface temperature of the sun.
Yeah, 85 is typically not that big a deal for us in Texas, but something about it seemed really awful.
Well, it was because it was direct and we were in
Yeah.
it for hours and hours. I mean,
Right.
it was just
We never
cumulative.
got in the shade.
Right.
We
We
never
all-
got to cool down.
We all got sun exhaustion to some point.
In a car.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
gosh, yeah.
riding around in a car
Brutal.
with no AC.
Spoilers.
Brutal in the car.
Yeah, we have to turn the AC off in the car a lot of times when we're filming because it's just really loud on the mic. And anybody that does sound anywhere will tell you when you're in a house, you turn all the AC and the refrigerators and things off when you shoot things. It's just how it has to be. Otherwise, you get all this crazy background hum. All of your background tracks that you lay over it have to be too loud to cover it up. And
Right.
it sucks. So when you're in a car, all that engine noise and stuff is fine if all you get is engine noise. But we were having problems with we were driving around on a street trying to shoot something that was there were these cracks in the road that were evenly spaced, so we got like this rhythm
Like a dun, dun,
in our
dun, dun,
background
dun, dun,
noise,
dun.
and
Those I don't, especially on my street here in North Texas, soil's really crappy, and my theory is that the soil underneath the roads gets all dry, and then there's like these giant pits and crevices that appear underneath there, and it creates like a bass drum. So some streets are even worse than others, but the one we were on, it was like somebody playing drums.
this was one of those old neighborhood streets where they laid like concrete slabs
Right.
instead of asphalt.
Right.
So when
and
they do
just
those,
sealed the seams.
yeah. So when they do these, they lay them in chunks so they can flex a little bit, and they can just come back and reseal the seams or
Yeah.
whatever. So we're hitting these seams all the way, and then it was a part where Dan was having to do some acting while driving, and me and Vincent were in
Never
the back.
again.
Me and Vincent were in the back, and I was running sound from the back. Aaron was filming from the front passenger seat. And so every time we'd start to film, Dan was having to drive and try to do these lines at the same time in a neighborhood with cars everywhere.
Yeah, it was
we have to go
packed
real
street.
slow because we don't want to have an accident or something. And then on top of that, every time we start filming, Dan has to basically kill the AC.
It was hot. It was
And so
hot.
Vincent and I in the back felt like we were in an oven, and it wasn't
Yeah.
much better in the front seat. And it just eventually, like, that was close to the end of the day. Man, we were just like kind of done, all of
3 or
us.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was that driving around and being frustrated with possibly not having any audio from the back seat. It kind of, I didn't realize that at the time, but it zapped me of all energy or all focus. And so when it came time to shoot like the last 3 to 4 camera angles for another scene, my head was not in the game, and I let some things slip, and that's what we had to reshoot.
I think we were all kind of in the same place at that point because we started out with like a lot of, this is going to sound fairly pretentious, but we started out with like a lot of intensity, and I think we all had something that we wanted to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we got around to shooting the last scene that we shot in a neighborhood, and we just wanted to be done with it.
We were defeated.
And that's not a viable approach whenever you do something creative. That's when
Right.
you need to put it away and do something else.
Yeah, and when you have like a crew of people that handles everything, you're in such a professional environment at that point with all this crew that have their own jobs. They only have to focus on their own thing
Right.
and do that right. That even if the actor or a camera guy or somebody is not in it all the way or not having a good day, it doesn't really matter because the production level's still there. But with us, when we feel like that, our production level just goes through the floor because we're the ones having to do every single part of it, and we're
1/4 of it.
yeah, we're just like
Right.
we're all worn out, tired. We're getting sunburn.
Yeah.
It's just
Having those extra people on set to take care of that stuff, that gives you extra time. You can use that time for more takes.
Or
You just-
activities. Have
or
fun.
yeah, activities.
yeah,
Building bunks.
yeah. Doing that trust fall thing, that friends do when they're around each other.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. Every time. That's how we start out our sessions with trust falls. Is that what they're called?
We do the shoe mixer too, where we learn each other's names. We do a lot of those.
We do a name tag and
We come with 3 questions for everybody, about themselves,
Yeah.
how we can better know them.
We do a lot of team building activities.
Yeah.
having said all that, I still don't feel like I have a very good grasp of who you are, Dan, and
Who is
my trust with you is. I'd like to abandon all that.
That's a complicated. Okay, all right.
It was not funny. It's good to know when to edit yourself.
We're not doing that joke apparently, but I just want to demonstrate my loyalty by telling Aaron that I was going to attempt to tie that back into last week's podcast to get more people to get involved and go back.
Okay, let's say I didn't edit, because with all editing programs, you can just put the footage right back in. So I put it back in. Let's see how it feels. Let's see how it fits up with the other shot.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Just be sure to leave your comments below. That's the last time I'm going to do that joke. Everybody.
Weren't you supposed to look at the camera, point, and say "Live strong" or something? Isn't that your
Never
catch?
stop.
Live strong. It's never stop.
Never stop.
Never stop.
Never stop.
Thumbs up.
Live strong.
It's not just
Live strong. That's already copyrighted, I think.
Live strong is how I keep track of my calories.
Since his incredible fall back to Earth and giant crater that he's made with his shenanigans, Live
Tyria.
Strong is totally up for grabs, and
Oh, is it really?
I just grabbed it.
Oh, yeah,
Armstrong.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I
That's
forgot
a
about
pretty
that.
big comparison.
I thought
between the two.
I thought you were talking about Tyrael, the Archangel of Justice
No.
from,
Oh,
the,
that
from the
guy.
Diablo franchise.
Oh, have you finally got there? Can we talk about that now?
Well, I'm in Inferno. What do you? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just
He's only done it like 17 times at this
Wait, isn't
point.
he the one who goes human?
Yeah.
can we?
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, now Wes is going to have to go back in, look for the 45 minute mark, and put in a little spoiler tag. That you just added more work for him, Vincent.
The game's been out for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
okay.
true. That's true.
It's
Yeah.
almost fair.
I think
it's
it's
almost
past
fair.
spoiler.
That's like Battlestar. I got angry with someone once and posted on Facebook that I didn't know someone. It wasn't Sharon Valeri, but that someone was a Cylon. Sharon's a Cylon, guys. Sorry.
Dude, I have the glasses.
But it was I don't know who it was. I don't remember. But you can still hear me, genius.
Just somebody point at me when I can put my headphones
Here,
back on.
I'm not spoiling anything for you.
Point and then.
That's like in season
Anyway,
2 or something.
I made an angry post, and then somebody was like, "Dude, that aired 4 years ago. They're exempt from that rule.
Chill.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that."
Oh, here's a tip. All the main characters are silent.
You're silent.
They're not really here. I was just messing with you.
I think there's only 9 of them, right?
Isn't there 11?
There's several
7.
Cylons.
You don't find
So-
out exactly how many there are. Like they keep saying there's this many and then
No,
there's
you
this
know,
many, but,
there.
but I mean like early on they don't know exactly how many there are.
No, she gives Gaius a note or something that
Right.
says there are only however many
Yeah.
models.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that
12.
count the metal model?
I think there were 12.
That
and
sounds
then,
right.
And then you never meet Daniel, who I remember because it's my name. But there's one model Cylon you never meet because like Cavill got jealous and
Right.
wiped out his whole
Yeah, I remember
line
that.
or something.
Yeah. Does that number count the metal one?
No.
No, because the metal ones
So there's really 13.
they're robots.
Hey, can I
Robot.
What were you gonna say about Diablo? Let's get back to what's important, everyone.
Diablo.
And
I don't know. The other couple weeks ago, I thought I was about to spoil something for you. And you said you hadn't beat it yet. That's really
That's
how
not true. I think a couple weeks ago,
I think he was saying he had
3 weeks ago.
beaten a certain difficulty maybe.
You were on
maybe
You had just began Act 3. You said something about how cool heaven looked.
on Hell difficulty. I just started Act 3.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, maybe this is more than 3 weeks ago.
maybe it was.
Hey, real quick, does it sound like I've got something in my throat or that I'm losing my voice? I feel a little.
You're a little raspy. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to cut that out.
Dear,
Are you serious?
dear Lord,
That was pretty rough.
I did it right here.
it looked pretty
Yeah,
rough.
but your head was still like 6 inches from the microphone.
I'm dying.
I don't know why.
You're,
I don't either.
Aaron,
Let me have some more coffee.
You shouldn't drink coffee because it closes up your throat.
That was the joke.
Coagulates your spit. And that's what I hate about the like orange soda, grape soda and stuff. It just. It just feels so. Yeah, that's what I
Nice
hate about like
catch.
orange soda and grape soda and stuff. Where like coagulates your spit and you just. I had like a couple times where I try to spit out and just like.
I think that's
dribbles on my own
I think
shirt.
that's anything with sugar in it like
I
that.
hate you
With
so
a lot of
hard.
sugar in it. It
so
does it to
badly.
me.
why?
I don't know.
I want people to hear all
I
the
just feel
good things.
being-
That,
feel like I'm
I
being
did
monitored.
get a comment, Vincent, that they wanted you to talk more.
Oh, okay.
So
I want you to talk more too.
I don't like to talk about things I don't know about.
right.
And so when there's things I don't know about, I like to listen, to learn about them.
Vincent, what do
And
you
so-
know about
so
that
I
you
don't
would
like to
like
talk out of my ass.
that you would like to talk
'Cause I
about?
hate people who do
I got a
that.
question for you,
Huh?
Vincent. I have a question. We
What?
were just talking about my writing influences. What are some of your comedy influences? You came up with Lippy, so like,
Oh.
who inspires you?
A better way to narrow that question down is like to be more concise. Is,
What doesn't inspire you?
Excellent.
is just to say, how do you do your acting? Where do you get it from?
What?
Like, what's your method?
There is none.
You did act in high school, did you know?
Well, yeah, okay. I acted in high school. I did musicals and stuff. I don't know if that turns you off, Dan.
It's different. It's different when it's you.
It
Okay.
looks like it's turning him on.
No, we just had a conversation earlier how he doesn't like musicals and
You're gonna hold down this end of the table.
about to jump over. Yeah, I did high school
got
and everything. I don't know. Whenever I do any of this stuff, I don't have like a method or anything. I just kind of whatever seems funny. At
I
the
see
time.
you doing stuff. I see the cogs turning.
Right. Well, I try a few different things, and then it's like, oh, that looks funny. Oh, that might like
Yeah.
work. Or
He does
you know.
ask quite often for another take. Like, I'll say, okay, that's good, we got it. And he'll be like, let me just do one more. Let me just do two
Yeah.
more.
Who's that?
I really like that though.
Right. Well, yeah, because I don't know if it looks good or if it, that scene we shot last time, but I wanted to redo it because I just felt like a badass whenever we did it. So I wanted to keep doing it.
I really appreciate it whenever you speak up like that, because I have a very hard time asking for certain things, and I probably do move on too quickly.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Yeah, about needing to get more scenes, but it always comes down to a thing where it's like a time crunch.
Yeah,
so.
during the romantic stuff, we're probably doing it at the best pace possible. Just because if we're only doing 1 day of shooting and we got to get it out in 2 weeks.
Technically, if we did like 2 full days of shooting per episode,
Yeah.
man, it'd be leaps and bounds better. We'd get way more takes. We wouldn't have to be doing these reshoots because we would have had 20 takes or something.
Maybe eventually, if we have some more people helping, we could do that. But
Yeah.
Episodes would probably be 10 minutes long.
I think the average web series episodes that I see are somewhere around that.
yeah, what the heck,
Not
man?
9 to 15 minutes long.
I totally thought that, the standard was 2 to 3 minutes. And then I went back and started looking at other episodes of The Guild and realized they shoot for 7 to 11 minutes is what I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating because that's originally what I wanted to do. But I guess when you're first starting off, it's kind of hard to ask people who don't know you to stick around with you for 7-8 minutes.
There's also a lot of content too.
Yeah. Vincent, back to what we were talking about, Vincent. You were telling me maybe you can just tell people what you do or if you have a kind of a process at all. But I know you go back and watch the stuff. Obviously, we all do because we want to see how much we sucked or what we messed up.
Right.
We always catch a million things in every episode that we absolutely hate that a lot of people never even notice.
I've seen Hotcakes 1.5 times.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, Aaron and I end up watching those things probably. I don't know how many times Aaron has to see it while he's editing, but it's hundreds.
By the time the episode is out, I'll watch it 2 more times. I'll bring my wife in, have her sit and watch it. And I enjoy it because I get feedback from her. And then I'll watch it 1 more time just to see it on YouTube. Who knows why? And then I'm done.
I watch it with Adria, and then I watch it on my TV, on the YouTube app, on my PlayStation to see what it looks like on the screen. And I watch it. I turn the lights down and sit down and watch it and try not to critique it.
Light a candle, turn the lights off. Get a nice
take my
dinner in
pants
front
off,
of me, and
pull my pants
have
off,
a nice day with it.
put my shoes back on, and then kind of sit in the recliner. I make the dog lay down because he goes nuts anytime I take my pants off. And
Don't we all?
Yeah. And so I sit back and I watch it, and I try to watch it without critiquing anything. I try to get myself. It's like when you watch a movie that you've already seen before. You try to go into it not thinking about the plot. You just try to enjoy it from the beginning. So I try to do that without trying to think about what's going to happen or what we did wrong or that this, I messed something up on the sound or
try to give yourself some fresh eyes.
Yeah. And so I just kind of watch it, and then I try to think to myself what I actually think about it as a viewer, which is so difficult for us, which is why you guys' feedback on this stuff is so important to us because we've seen these things so many times and we're in them, and we have no one else to really critique these things besides you guys that watch it. So honest critiques are always welcome. What I was saying about Vincent, though, is you were telling me something about watching Hotcakes, I think it was, and you were telling me something about the way you did something with Lippy that you didn't like. I don't, maybe in the park scene or something.
Yeah, if whenever I go back and watch it, if it makes me, if doing what I did made me laugh, then I'll try to do that same type of thing. But it's kind of nice going back. There's some parts going back. I was like, I didn't like that, or I didn't like doing that, and I try to remember that when I do something that might be similar, or in that same idea.
Yeah,
to not
in the same
to make sure to not do anything like how I did it before.
Yeah. Dead air.
Yep.
Did Aaron?
Aaron said, and then
no,
didn't say anything.
no.
He doesn't look dead.
Resuscitate Aaron. Without him, we have no show. / future.
He's the only one who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You can all do your own fan fiction versions. Season 3 is Dan's fan fiction
Mine would
version.
be very sexy fan fiction.
That's how you know that a show is over.
Fan fiction.
Is when people start actually reading the fanfic. It's yeah. I don't know.
So, you guys want to move into answering some of the YouTube questions? That's probably gonna take us a little while.
Sure, yeah.
Let's go over to that. I have all of those here. So what we're gonna do now is just answer some of the questions that we got on the YouTube
questions.
comments and the website. The website. What are you doing? No one can read that.
I can't read that.
As long as Jake can.
I've got a couple of shticks prepared for the video viewer.
You need a bigger picture book.
No,
What does that say on?
it's
Just
just
that boobs.
it's a duck, and it says
Oh.
"Hello, Jake."
Oh my gosh, that's a really silly looking duck. Look at his eyeballs.
Wait, let me see.
It's just a duck.
Well, I mean, it's a cartoon duck. Cartoons are silly looking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends.
West, they're silly looking.
I've managed to make the tip of his beak look like it's a pair of lips. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, that is a little creepy. It kind of curves up at the end.
Is the duck's name Jake?
No, the
He's-
duck is saying "Hello, Jake."
The duck is just greeting Jake.
Well, should you
Yes.
put a vocal bubble around it?
No,
Does Jake
Oh, how
know
else is
that
it-
you're talking about him when you say hello, Jake?
I would assume.
Would you like me to clarify that?
No.
Okay. Well, he'll probably know now at
Hey,
least.
guys,
All right, so
come on.
All right, so we're gonna answer questions. We've got several, and we'll answer. I'll pose the question, and then we'll just all talk about it. All right. So the first question is from Curry Muncher,
I'm excited.
and Curry Muncher asked, "What direction do we want to go with our filming? Like, what direction?" And we'll have to let
Up.
let
Only up.
Aaron start that conversation. So
Okay.
Is that yours?
I would just like to continue to get more quality. I'd like the episodes to
Dan
be a
said
little
up.
bit. I would like to be I would like to have the episodes be a little bit longer. I would like to refine my dialogue. I would like to learn how to tell, a good story. And I would like to eventually, when I have, season 2 complete, be able to sit down, edit it all together, and take out, some of the jump cuts and like titles and stuff, and have it be, a full episode of something somebody can sit down and watch.
I want it to just be good, because I don't want to put all this effort into it and feel like a hack, that's doing something worthless.
That's my
I don't
biggest.
think we
So
should,
regardless of whether it ever becomes really popular or anything like that, this is all invaluable learning experiences for me. As far as we may move on to another series at some point. We may move on to something more serious. We may move on to something even more comical.
Drama.
You never know.
Ooh.
So this is all something that's going to help us
mystery?
immensely in the future, friends.
And so I'm not friends with Salad Fingers. You guys remember Salad
Absolutely.
Fingers?
Newgrounds.com.
We did not just pitch Newgrounds.
No,
Yes.
Aaron used to use the hell out of that.
I have
website.
cartoons still on Newgrounds.
Yep.
We didn't pitch Newgrounds. We're not going to pitch You'reTheManNowDog.com.
Oh gosh, I tried to look at that the other day. It is unlookable.
YTMND.com/you make me touch your hands for stupid reasons. That's all I have to say.
Man,
The only thing I ever got off of that website was all the Picard stuff.
yeah.
We're gonna get off of this right now, and then we're gonna watch. Not right now. Don't worry. Not right now. And we're gonna watch You Make Me Touch Your Hands for Stupid Reasons.
So what do you want to get out of it?
What direction? What was the question exactly?
The question was what direction we want to go with filming. I think only Aaron can answer that part of it.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, it's kind of, to me, it's like, what do you want to get out of this in the long run?
Well, first of all, to address what you guys said, from a technical perspective and from your creative perspective, I understand that you guys want to improve and make it better. And I think that this show is distinct from a lot of other web series because I've watched a lot of other web series, and I'm not going to call them by name, but some of them are other popular ones, and there's some that I've seen them in lists with the title of our show. They don't really consider any kind of technical aspect, or it doesn't look like they do. I think the Romantics in a lot of ways is leaps and bounds beyond a bunch of other web series. There are some really good ones, but like the Romantics, I think looks really good.
Okay.
And it comes across as something that people really put time and energy and effort into to make sure that it comes across a certain way. There's lots of room for improvement, and we're just 4 guys that are doing a thing right now. Well, like 3.5 guys. And
I'm working there. I'm getting there. So close.
You're almost there. You're almost there.
That's not what I meant. You know that.
He's referring to himself as the half.
I'm the half.
Oh,
It's not true.
Half man, half man. I turned it into a compliment, a self compliment.
Nice.
So like, I don't think that your concerns are illegitimate. I think it's great that you guys want to go that direction. But I watched that just as like a viewer and a fan because I just started participating, and I'm just like every week that an episode comes out, I was like, this is awesome.
Okay.
And it's really exciting to me. The direction I want to see it go is more frequency and consistency, and we've already taken massive steps toward making that happen.
Yeah.
We did an episode right after the 4 of us got together and talked about scheduling, that kind of thing. And after can we talk about
How many episodes have we actually put out? I can't remember.
No.
five.
No, for season 2 purely.
One.
Oh my god.
and
Yeah,
then
hotcakes.
and then one on the way this week.
Right.
Yeah, one tomorrow.
So I mean, within 2 weeks we'll have had 2 episodes out, and then we'll have another one in another 2 weeks.
Right.
So I mean, this is major because I mean, obviously there were some delays.
Yeah, in the previous one, I think after Liquid Vitamins, it took us 3 weeks. And then the next one took 4 weeks, and then the next one took like 6 weeks.
Well, that's because the scope of it was originally going to just be like skits.
Yeah,
and it had loosely tied.
And
with,
you were still like hardcore filming pen and paper.
Yeah.
So like every weekend I was having to do both. And for one thing, I couldn't do Romantics every week because I was worn out.
Yeah.
Right. So what I really want to see, and it's a direction that we've already made a lot of progress towards, but is just consistency and momentum. I want more content, and I want for viewers to be able to see more content because like, I don't know about everyone else, but I get frustrated when I want to watch. One of my favorite comics artists is Paul Pope.
Oh,
and, and he'll release like an issue or 2 of something, and then it'll be a year before something else comes out.
How long did it take him to finish THB?
It's not. I don't think it ever finished.
Wow.
What does that stand for?
Tetra. I can't remember.
Trihydrobicarbonate. Trihydrobiocarbonate something.
Yeah, it's about a girl that has a robot that she can make grow out of a little pill that she just adds water to.
He's not a robot.
He's
organic. Or something. He's a chemical.
He's one of those
compound.
little squishy dinosaurs that when you add water, he gets really big.
Yeah.
You add water and he like explodes into like a rubber man with a pointy head. It sounds really ridiculous. It's loosely based on it's like a future adaptation of Little Orphan Annie.
It sounds interesting.
It's cool.
It actually is. It's really awesome. The art is really amazing and frenetic, and and that's what's crazy is the first couple of issues, like he wasn't really concerned with craft as much as just getting it out, and all the pages are just cram packed, and he just like they look like they were just done furiously.
It's black and white only. His lines are super heavy. Sometimes shadow almost like overtakes the panel. It's really
it's awesome though. It looks really
looking.
refreshed.
It's a good thing to hear though that from the first season or whatever that you anticipate episodes like that when you're still a viewer, because I really feel like we lost a lot of people in the first season because of the infrequency and then the huge break that I had to take.
Right.
And coming back, I have been struggling to build it back up to what it was, and it just isn't happening the same way. And so we lost a lot of momentum. So what you're talking about with all that stuff, it means it's a big deal. Like that stuff is a huge deal.
And that was a huge deal to me too, because I have had friends, no one that's going to hear this and be offended. And I do mean that. So if any of my friends are watching this, I'm not talking about you. But I've known people in the past that have been involved in or have had creative projects that were not good, and I was not excited. And I have just, like, whenever a Romantics episode has come out in the past, I've just wanted to watch the next one, like, immediately. Yeah. And I thought about it a lot. So
cool.
See, that's one thing. I like to hear that, because one thing that's hard for me is Aaron writes it. We learn the script. We shoot the thing. And I find myself being very disconnected story-wise, personally, between episodes, because I can't watch it the same way as somebody else.
Yeah, I have.
So it's hard for me. Issue. That's another thing. You guys can leave us feedback if you feel like it. We'd like to know. But I have a hard time understanding the cohesiveness of the whole thing and the episodes as they go into each other, because we're in it and we watch it so much, it almost becomes like an amalgamous nothing to my brain. Like, I can't. It's hard for me to be like, okay, how does this take off from the last episode? Let me really think about this.
In the timeless words of the stereo MCs, you've got to get yourself connected.
Yes, true. That is true. Oh, wise prophets.
How about you, homie Holmes? What direction do you want to see this go?
I just want to. What I'm concerned about is I just want growth. I want to get spread out and as many people to see it as we possibly can.
This is a good time for you to talk about stuff you were talking to me about on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had pitched the idea of, and which I haven't been able to look much more into, but I'm going to try to get if school, my school ends in like a week. And so when summer hits, I'm going to work more on it. But trying to get us into like a booth or some open panel or something like that into conventions. There's so many that go around in Texas. There's from now until December, there was like 7 of them that would fit just what we're working on, like board games and video games, and it's small ones that we could actually fit into. That's not counting the 20 others that are happening from now to then that are just going on, that are similar but just not quite where we would have a nice niche into it. And so that's what I was kind of looking into, just try to find some, and a lot of them are relatively cheap and pretty inexpensive. Smaller ones are, but just like having a little booth and just really putting ourselves out there as much as we can in as many possible venues and channels. Like this is a completely awesome new outlet to.
Yeah, I think this is a blast. I think it's a really good way to reach other people.
Yeah, so that's what I'm worried about, just having as much visibility as we possibly can.
Yeah. This is the perfect opportunity to call your mother and tell her, Mom, I've missed you. I love you. What's been going on with you? Wait, hold on. Before you get to that, I need you to check something out for me.
Well, this is a good time for me to explain a little bit to people how that works, because a lot of people don't know how to really support through that kind of social media and stuff. If you use Facebook, you can help us literally explode. If you share something to your friends the way Facebook works, for example, I can get statistics from our fan page, and if one person shares this thing on their Facebook page and they've got 100 friends, 50 people will see it. And when that's so much of a bigger sample size than anything else I can do. I can tweet this thing on Twitter to 700 people. Depending on what time of day it is, 50 people might see it because their feeds go by so fast from all the people they follow.
Right.
I can do it on the Steam group, and the people that are online will see it, but the people that are in games probably won't see it.
I feel like we've just gone full NPR here. I'm looking around and I'm feeling quite trippy, like we're doing a little, what do they call it? The drives to to build.
Oh no, this is important because people
and support.
Like I didn't know any of this
PBS
stuff myself. I didn't know any of this stuff myself before I started having to promote our stuff, because I abhor social networks. I don't like messing with them. They're too much trouble to me, but it's necessary for this kind of stuff. I
like changing my cover photo.
Yeah, how many times a day?
2 times.
2 times?
Dan,
that's a good number.
I don't know if you did this, but 2 days after shooting that last episode, or 2 days after you saw that last episode, you changed your cover photo or cover Facebook thing from the Romantics banner to some chicken, and I thought, oh shit, he's out. I just cussed.
I drew that chicken.
Did you really?
TYVM.
Did you really draw that?
Yeah.
Yeah, very
I
good.
saw that. That was cool.
Yeah, it's very good. But still, when I saw that, I thought, oh crap, he's out.
He hated it. He hated the whole experience.
I literally ran for the border.
Yeah.
I got out of my car where I was on my phone changing my cover photo, and I ran literally south across the Mexico border.
That's a long way.
I didn't really do that.
So back to the sharing things.
Yes.
Sharing is caring, and that actually
And on Facebook, just real quick on the social networks, the biggest thing that you can do on Twitter is hashtag the romantics or do an @YouTube or something when you respond and retweet. That's the best thing you can do on Twitter. On Facebook, the absolute best thing you can do is hit the like button and share it, because most people just hit a like button and move on. But the most important thing and the biggest promotion on Facebook is hitting the share button. Because when you share it with people, everyone on your friends list will see it. And if you've got 100 friends, 10 of them might be permanent followers after that. They might see it, enjoy it. And you can think of it this way. You're bringing them some content that's earnest and 4 guys are honestly putting a lot of effort into, instead of
3.5,
something really silly that they'll watch for 10 seconds and never even know who did it or why,
or a trailer that they're going to see in the theater anyway.
Right. So I mean, you're really bringing value to your friends instead of just saying, hey, look at this 1 minute long trailer of a movie you already know about.
And the beautiful thing is you can still share all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, you can still do it all, but it's really helpful. And our Facebook presence has exploded in the last. I did some advertising on our previous episodes, some Google AdSense advertising, and so we got the views that we did. But Hotcakes already has like 537 views in a week.
Ooh.
And that's crazy because that is almost all word of mouth. Almost all of those hits are coming from Twitch or Facebook or a few from random searches on YouTube. But because it's a web series, it's impossible to use keywords that get you a lot of hits because it's a web series and the title's The Romantics. So people aren't typically going to go to YouTube and be like, I wonder if there's a web series called The Romantics, and look it up.
Yeah, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with that title.
We did absolutely no planning at all when it came to keyword stuff. But this is a creative project about something that we're passionate about. So the point of it is not to be famous. The point of it is to put out a quality project for people.
I do think it's kind of, I think most people, when they do a web series or they want people to see a web series, they sit down and think, okay, what topic is going to resonate with public? And we picked private investigators investigating insurance fraud.
Yeah, and called it The Romantics.
Yeah, who sits down and types in private investigator web show? Nobody.
My question is this: is because I know that the original, the liquid vitamins was kind of a test, just to see if it was something that you could do. And I know you were like knee deep in the process with pen and paper, which is still happening. Which if you didn't see last week's episode or installment or whatever this is that we're doing right now, and if you're not already familiar with some of Aaron's other projects, pen and paper it's a 30-minute pilot that we are probably 75% done with all production aspects.
As far as shooting goes, we're 90% done.
Yeah, so it's close to completion. We have some snags that are going to work themselves out eventually, but it's high drama. It's still funny, but it's very different in atmosphere and tone and visual quality.
That absolutely is getting done, because the first 3 pages of that are some of them. I'm more proud of that than I think anything I've ever done.
It's really, really good. It's really exciting. I'm not in those pages, Aaron.
I'm sorry. I really do love your character, though.
But it's something that we're also really passionate about, that all of us are involved in. But anyway, back to The Romantics. I mean, I know that you were really involved in pen and paper. Were you thinking at that time when you did The Romantics, the first couple episodes, like, this is gonna be big. We really want to create a culture of popularity and a viewership around this, or were you just doing it like to do something fun and get something on film that you could look at?
I think my first thought was, this is a perfect way to practice. Like, I don't have really any way of practicing all these film techniques. I didn't go to school. I'm not going to school. Trying to just set up a camera in my house and do a one-man show would be stupid. So
Star Wars kid.
Yeah.
May the fourth be with you, Star Wars kid.
So that was my original hope for it. And then I thought, after we did the first one, I thought this was pretty fun to do. I think it's funny. Could have been way funnier, but I think maybe we could start really building a viewership like this, because the Twitch thing was originally to build an audience for something, pen and paper,
really.
something we wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah, and I think when we did the pilot, or when we did the liquid vitamins, which was kind of a one-off, Aaron didn't even have his camera yet.
Yeah, that was. Oh, yeah, we never even talked about.
He didn't even have his camera. We'll do equipment on another episode. We don't have time today, but he didn't even have his camera. So we basically used my 5-year-old handy cam.
What is it exactly? Just say
it's
a
little Panasonic. I don't even know. It's not. Not Panasonic. It's a Canon. It's one of the really.
It's a Vixia H100. HF100.
That's what it is. Yeah, Vixia HF100, which is a decent camera.
Yeah, it's like a 1.8.
You can get them now for like $200, and they're very good.
Yeah.
But we shot it with that, and which is it's a piece of junk for recording a film.
Yeah.
But it worked for what we did, and when I was doing it, or when my reason for doing it was, I thought we've got this viewership on Twitch now. How do we convert it to YouTube?
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand how, or I didn't really have a good avenue at the time to get my gameplay videos onto YouTube and build up a channel from that. And also at the same time, I thought if we build up this giant channel off of video games and then we start putting a web series on it, it's like totally different. So I thought we need to start putting some live action stuff of us on there now.
Yeah.
So people can become accustomed to the fact that that's one of the main things we use the YouTube for.
Yeah,
right.
So,
an audience that sits and watches Let's Plays is not going to transition into
some will,
kind of, yeah,
but not a lot.
But the majority,
luckily, people that watch
you've
me,
got a very different viewership.
Yeah, my viewer base on Twitch is mostly people my age or closer to my age than they are closer to a 13-year-old.
You have a ton of interesting viewers. Like I would sit and have lunch with any of them.
And they seem like they are as concerned with hanging out with you as they are about finding out whether or not they want to buy a game or like seeing the proper way to play through it.
Oh yeah, every time I play a new game, I get people in there that I've never seen before. That's one thing people do on Twitch all the time. They come in to see a game and see if it's something they want to purchase.
Right. Well, that's probably what.
Yeah. Because people don't have a lot of money these days, just throw around on crap. So
and there's just so much you have to pick and choose.
Yeah,
exactly. Which ones are good
the only Twitch channel I've really looked at besides yours is I don't remember the guy's name.
Man versus Game.
No. Well, anyway, he's someone that plays Diablo all the time, and it's just to check out Diablo builds.
A teen?
No,
I think you would remember that.
No,
it wasn't No Life something.
Athene's fairly awesome. It's
Athene is amazing.
Archon something. He's big too.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Charities and stuff.
I know who you're talking about.
He seems like a pretty stand-up guy. I don't know, but man, I feel guilty not knowing his name.
That's okay.
No, you're fine. Twitch is such a niche thing.
Yeah, there's a whole
tons of nerds.
Somebody that might be popular today might disappear tomorrow on there too. So we need to move down this list. We're getting close to the end of this thing, so let's get down this list of questions here.
That was
we had some question. That was a long question.
Yeah,
and that wasn't even the hard one. So
more action is the real answer.
We're gonna need Vincent for the hard one.
Bam.
All right. So Rushlock had
it's time for some loving.
Rushlock had 2 questions. He had this one is a good one. He said last time we talked about our nerdy influences as we were growing up, or the kind of culture that we grew up in, especially considering we grew up in a time where nerds were not popular like they are now. Yeah. And so we had to kind of seek that stuff out ourselves. Now it's everywhere, but used to it wasn't. He asked a question. He said, in relation to that, he said, what game or movie would each of us claim to be a total fanboy of? He said irrational fanboy.
That's what made the question hard for me, because I don't feel like any of my fanboyism is irrational.
That's because you're a fanboy.
Yeah. Well, story is extremely important to me. I think pop culture deserves more credit than it's given. People typically think it's like, filler, popcorn, extra stuff, It doesn't get the respect I think it deserves.
I think that you stop becoming a fan and start becoming a fanboy when you appreciate something because it's part of a franchise that you like, or part of a franchise that you subscribe to or are dedicated to because you identify with it and you identify yourself with it. It's part of your identity.
Right.
instead of the fact that you actually like that thing. Or
right, that makes sense.
There are a lot of people.
There's also the really negative definition of fanboyism, which I'm not talking about.
I mean this in an extremely negative way.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who have told me like the Phantom Menace is, it's really, there are a couple good parts.
It could have been so much worse. And to me, these are not legitimate defenses for anything. Like, that is not a reason to like a thing. You are defending it from that perspective because you're a Star Wars fanboy.
Right.
I think if you have reasons to like something, they're gonna be legitimate if you can explain them. I think, other than just it's Star Wars.
Right. I think having you said that now allows me to feel comfortable to say I am not an irrational fanboy of anything.
Yes, on the Romantics, we pick apart the questions word for word and discuss the definitions.
Semantics are very important.
Yeah, we discuss the semantics of every single word.
Maybe we shouldn't take your questions that seriously, but we do. They are important
because we value you.
I have been.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
I've been quite scared of this question, actually. I thought about it a lot, and I couldn't come up with an answer. I do have an answer.
Let's start with you.
Okay. If I was going to have... I understand that this is my favorite movie, and I understand that for most people, this would be a terrible pick for a favorite movie of all time. And it used to be my number 2, but now it's my number 1, and that is Tom Hanks in The Burbs.
Which I think is an excellent movie.
It's a good movie.
I can't possibly, I fancy myself, well, I'm not gonna say, I fancy myself a writer, but I can't possibly put into words how much I love this movie.
And to reiterate how much Aaron loves this movie, he basically played the main character, Tom Hanks' character, in a GURPS session.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know what GURPS is, that stands for Generic Universal Role Playing System, and it's a more expansive version of D&D.
Yeah, by Steve Jackson Games from Austin, Texas.
They're awesome.
Thank you, Steve Jackson.
Yeah, GURPS was awesome. Yeah, The Burbs is my...
Yeah, so he basically played Tom Hanks' character in our GURPS session, complete with wife and everything.
That was Ray Peterson. It was what, 10, 15 years later after the incident from the movie, I took on a lot of the other characteristics of the neighbors from the show. Basically, it was just my excuse to play an idiot character.
And it was actually a good character. It was fun to play those sessions.
Absolutely.
I caused some serious issues.
He did. But that was our call to action, like 90% of the time was, Ray shot somebody in the butt. I guess we're going to town.
Ray's in a tree with a sniper rifle.
I shot that guy in the face. His head exploded.
I was talking about a different guy.
Yeah. Oh man, that just reminded me of that. This is completely off topic and we don't have to go any further. It just reminded me of that whole entire weird thing that was going on at that mansion with the swimming pool. And I think Ray Peterson was like all the way across the field somewhere in a tree.
I was in a tree overlooking the wall and the hedge, and I saw a security guy, and I thought he looks a little shady.
Didn't you like accidentally shoot or something?
He looks shady. Let's kill him.
No, I just got really twitchy. Somebody said there's a blood tornado coming out of the swimming pool. That girl ain't coming back. There's a girl that got sacrificed. Blood tornado shot out of the pool, and I thought, oh damn. Let's do this, and I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, and we're like, all the rest of us that were on the back side of this thing, very close to the situation, we're like, oh, I guess we're going.
And then Sebastian.
For the record, this was beachfront property, and Wes and I were in a speedboat.
No, it was a catamaran. You were in like a little...
It was a boat.
It was a rental boat.
Yeah, a boat we rented, and we had a gnome floating in a styrofoam cooler.
Was it not a sailboat?
And wait, I thought the styrofoam cooler was full of grenades.
Yes.
Maybe, there was one, but what did we float the gnome on?
We floated him out on the lid.
Oh, on the lid, that's right. So we sailed the gnome on the little lid to scout the area.
The gnome was also a PC or player character for the uninitiated.
Yeah, that was James.
He was a garden gnome. He had two different... Oh, God, you bounced.
I saw that.
He had two different states of being. He was a resin form, like a typical little garden gnome.
He was like a garden gnome.
And then
he was a genome.
He could go fleshy, and then he had a secret hidden third state of being. If he heard funk music being played, his little elf hat or little gnome hat would pop off, his fro would shoot out.
He switched to a pimp outfit.
Yeah,
with a cane.
His pimp cane would come out. And we don't really know what use that served, but it was quite fun.
Yeah, didn't he grow up like in the yard or the back porch of some
Timmy?
Was it a black family?
No, Little Billy.
And all he ever watched on their TV was like Soul Train or something like that.
I don't remember.
It was something like that. So that's like where he got all his. That's where he got all his influences from. Because that's all he ever knew. He was a gnome that stayed on the back porch all the time.
Like a gnome.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so yeah.
So what's the question?
You're on the ship. You've got a box of grenades. Somebody tosses you a grenade, and what do you do, Dan? What did you do?
What do you think?
He whipped out a baseball bat and hit that mother trucker
Ka-tink.
clear into the backyard from like, what was it, 200 yards? It was a stupid length of it was a crit success.
I had a lot of decks.
Yeah. So Ray Peterson blows a head off of a security guard, and within about 5 seconds, a grenade sails.
A home run grenade.
A grenade just materializes from out of nowhere, blows the carport up, and man, the action just went nuts.
And then the SHTF.
What? You misspelled that. SHTF.
And then the SHTF.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
Aaron's a little slow on the uptake.
I was like, man, how did he misspell it that bad? Okay, so the question, Irrational Fanboy. I'm done.
Okay, so mine's not, I mean, I consider this an amazing movie. I don't consider it irrational at all. But it is maybe irrational how much I like it. But my main one is The Dark Crystal. Because I saw that movie when I was young, and it changed my life. I know that sounds weird.
It rebuilt your brain in some special ways.
We talked about this in the last episode about how there wasn't as much like nerdy fantasy movies and things like that back then. And when I saw The Dark Crystal, it was like, this kind of stuff exists in media, you know? And I grew up on a farm, like really sheltered in a private school. So I had no idea there was stuff like this out there, you know? And so I saw this thing. I watched it on like a Saturday afternoon matinee thing or something one time while my grandpa was taking his nap after we come in from working on the farm out in the field in the summer or something. I was exhausted, dirty, just laid on my bed. This thing was on. I watched it, and the whole entire time I was like, I got to see more of this.
Yeah.
I want to see everything. I want to know what happened before. I want to know what happened after.
Those puppets were amazing.
Yeah,
It's just so awesome.
That was really my introduction to Jim Henson's like real live action stuff too,
Right.
as opposed to like Muppets or something.
I've never met the guy, but I do actually have a really deep love for him.
Yeah, so that's
Did he pass away recently?
that's the one that's my main one. But I
That's in the
also
80s.
this one you probably would consider irrational fanboyism in a negative way. I absolutely love Stephen King. I know that a lot of his stuff is trash. A lot of his stuff is trash, and it's not written well. He's described that himself before as a job.
I do love Stephen King.
He makes his money, and he said before he hates a lot of his own stuff. He has to write it though because he has to make a paycheck, and his publisher requires a certain amount of stuff every so often, and so he even has a whole entire character designing tutorial / set of books that teaches you how to do it. And in there he even states, if you want to do writing as a job and you don't write like a single big giant hit or a classic, you have to do it as a job. So every day you got to sit down and write 20 pages whether it sucks or not. And that's
he
what
deserves respect just for being able to churn out the amount of stuff he does.
Yeah, and so he's in a tough niche to write in and be any good in the first place. And some of his stuff is amazing, and so I love it for that. But because of that, I like all Stephen King movies. There is not a Stephen King movie out there that I do not like. I even like the fact that he's in every one of them as a weirdo somewhere in
The Frighteners
somewhere in
is
the
pretty
background.
awesome.
Oh, does
movie.
he cameos his own movies?
The
he is
Frighteners.
he's somewhere
he has
in
nothing
just
to do with
about
the
every
Frighteners.
movie he's ever
Are
in.
you lying to me right now?
He has nothing to do with the Frighteners. That's Peter Jackson.
Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, I know Peter Jackson directed The Frighteners, but
No, he has nothing. Yeah, he has nothing to do with that one.
bullshit.
No, he really does not. The Frighteners is
I
not.
thought he like produced it or something weird. I have no idea.
We're
I
gonna
will chew off
we're
my
gonna-
pinky.
We'll look it up later.
We're gonna Google this.
But
later.
my favorite bad Stephen King movie is The Langoliers.
It is the worst, and it is awesome.
And we were talking about this earlier, and I did have a question that I want to ask you about that. Does that co-star Bronson Pinchot, also known as Balki Bartakamos from
Yes.
Yes.
He is in that movie.
Perfect Strangers?
And he's the best part of the entire movie.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's not a comedian in that movie at all.
Now, isn't that movie that's about little dudes that eat everything, right?
Yeah, and it's got a lot of this in it. Hold on. Oh, that's way louder.
It
than I
has
was
a lot of
thinking
air
it
and
would be.
tearing paper.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of tearing paper in that movie.
Yeah, that's the way he relaxed. He would and tear some paper.
That's gross.
Yeah, he's very odd in anything he's in. When I think of Bronson Pinchot, I always think of that movie where he's the psychic or
Second
whatever.
Sight.
Yeah,
Is that what it's
it's
called?
a terrible movie, but that's what I always think about. It's something like that. I think that's right.
Was he also in Father of the Bride? No, that's Martin Short.
Ugh. Oh,
Okay, so Dan, you're up.
man. Oh, man. I have an irrational fear of Martin Short after I saw Clifford.
Clifford's bad, but holy crap, Ed Grimley. That scared me beyond anything when I was little.
I didn't ever see Ed Grimley.
I don't know if scaring you beyond belief from a show that's supposed to be for kids is meaning that it's good.
That was not for kids. It was an SNL skit.
He had a kids show.
No, Ed Grimley did not.
I swear. He played a little triangle.
Yeah, that was
music. He had a Saturday morning show for a while.
No, he did not. We're stealing Dan's time.
I thought he did.
That's fine. I still have everyone else's.
Aaron's just trying to get me to quit talking about it. That's all. He doesn't like to.
I don't know why, but I got intensely embarrassed for a moment, and I cannot figure out why.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're going to be okay.
Am I?
It's okay.
Your O penis is showing.
Oh, my God.
All right, Dan.
What was the...
Irrational fanboy thing.
I don't know. It's
or
hard.
not irrational. Either one.
It's hard. It's hard for me to think of anything. I'll tell you something irrational that I did because I was a fan of something. I watched the Tim Burton Ed Wood film, which is really entertaining if you haven't seen it.
It's excellent.
It's definitely my favorite Tim Burton movie. It's probably my favorite Johnny Depp movie. I like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I like...
That's where the whole horse face joke comes from.
Yeah, I like Patricia Arquette. I like so many... Bill Murray, obviously. Bill Murray's so amazing.
Yeah.
After I watched that movie, I probably watched 6 Ed Wood movies back to back. Starting with Plan 9 from Outer Space, which actually is...
I have seen that
entertaining.
I cannot watch it.
Some of the other ones are basically like really boring, uncomfortable pornography.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He wrote a lot of that stuff too. I mean, novels.
I think he was an interesting, lonely guy, and he wrote himself into a situation where he would just be with naked girls. But these movies also had to get... I saw Glenn or Glinda, actually, and it was really bad, like tragically bad.
Yeah.
But things like groups of things that I actually like, or like a franchise that I'm a fanboy of. If there's anything that I will say that I'm a lot more forgiving of than I am of other things just because of who it's associated with, I would say pretty much anything. I don't know. I had some problems with The Life Aquatic, but Wes Anderson is just so amazing. And people talk about him as though he's in this massive state of decline, like M. Night Shyamalan or something.
Gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, people hate.
It's because the whole hipster backlash.
Well, I can't stand it. Because I think that he's one of the most sincere, outrageous, funny.
He was my hero back when I was still having heroes.
Yeah, just like such a compassionate filmmaker, but also like, you know, weird and nuanced and cool. And obviously, I was going to say this earlier. I mean, obviously he's influenced by some of the same things that you and I like. I mean, there's some element of a Salinger book in every single one of his movies.
Yes.
And the Royal Tenenbaums in particular, like
and you can't watch 5 seconds of anything he's ever done and not be interested in the way it looks either.
Yeah,
it's very distinct.
Oh man, it's some of the most interesting looking film I've ever seen in my life. I would watch an entire film with no dialogue in it from him.
Yeah, and he just does all these like dioramas and things that are just dead on, and it's like you're being confronted with whatever he's constructed there, and it's awesome. Just the way that he does it. It's almost like he makes a documentary of whatever it is he's making his movie about. It's weird.
Yeah. All the little details. He's also incredibly funny. I can watch Rushmore one time and laugh my bottom off hard.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Watch it again the next day and bawl.
Wait, you laugh your bottom off hard?
Yeah, I laugh my bottom off hard.
While hard or?
Yes.
Okay.
I laugh hard and it just kind of vibrates right off. But
nice.
Yeah, Rushmore can make me bawl. It can make me laugh.
I was just trying to imagine it.
Problem.
Wes Anderson is incredibly funny.
Now,
never come through in an interview though.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't you say that your favorite Wes Anderson movie was his first?
It's a tie between Bottle Rocket and Rushmore.
Oh my gosh.
That is irrational because Bottle Rocket is definitely his weakest movie.
Bottle Rocket's probably my second favorite of his.
It's
I'm
amazing.
surprised.
I love Bottle Rocket.
I love it too.
It's the
Rushmore
first.
is the best.
Aaron introduced me to his stuff, and Bottle Rocket was the first thing Aaron ever showed me of his, and so it had a big effect on me.
Bottle Rocket's the only one I've only seen once.
Oh, really?
That's one I haven't
The
actually
Criterion
seen.
came out like 2 or 3 years ago. So
I mean, if you like Wes Anderson stuff, Bottle Rocket's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, I do. That's Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket feels almost like, to me, Bottle Rocket feels like something we're trying to do almost.
Yeah,
Like it's way more new. I mean, it's way more infantile in his development of film than anything else, and so it kind of feels like stuff we're doing.
I think the reason I probably didn't include Bottle Rocket on my inspiration list is because people would see that and say, "Oh, that's right, he's just ripping off Bottle Rocket."
Yeah. Well, we're not. I mean,
No, but
yeah, you can't
an
help.
argument could easily be made.
Yeah, you can't help your influences. There's just
Right.
no way. I mean, that everything is ripping something off these days.
Right.
But I don't really consider it ripping off. It's more of a
It's iterating.
yeah. It's just iterating.
I mean, there are themes. The same themes have been around forever. I mean, Western civilization started with, with as we recognize it, with like the Greeks or whatever. And I mean, they wrote funny plays that have a lot of the same stuff that we deal with now in sitcoms. And
It's not people. I don't think people recognize it as easily though, because the translation is so different from then to now. But
I just mean
it's
there's
all
continuity.
Yeah, it's all still the same thing, pretty much. All the same themes, because we're all people. We all still deal with the same troubles and problems.
right. It's gonna
So,
be it's gonna be the same.
You got 99 problems, man. 99 problems
So
for years and years and years.
so Vincent, what about you? What do you love that?
What are you an
shouldn't?
irrational
Irrational
fanboy?
fanboy. The only thing I can think of that comes to mind is I love, and I think we'll probably always love, and gonna play and listen to the N64 era of Legend of Zelda games. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah, I remember when those came out.
Music, just everything about
Those
them.
were pretty epic when they came out.
My last Halloween costume was a character from Legend of Zelda,
Which you
Ocarina of
can
Time.
see, which you can actually see that on one of our YouTube videos.
I have the
Mansions
picture on
of
my phone
Madness.
right now.
The Mansions of Madness finale video that's on YouTube. You can see Vincent wearing that costume.
It's a great costume.
It's called The Investigators Win Mansions of Madness.
Yes, it is.
I still like that video.
That's probably the only thing I can think of that's probably irrational. Because most of the things that I love, I have to stop loving, or I will become irrational about it.
Yeah.
So not Wind Waker.
No, I don't. I mean, I enjoyed all the other ones, but for some reason, maybe just because of the experience that I had with them, and that was like one of the first big adventure games I played.
So what are we talking about? Oh, Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of
and
Time,
Majora's
Majora's
Mask.
Mask. Yeah.
Yep. those two.
Ocarina of Time, though, is like arguably in the top 3 greatest video games of all time. So
It is really, really good.
I actually rebought that on a re-released disc version.
Oh, really?
They re-released Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on this collector's edition. I have it in my attic somewhere, and it's not even open.
On the Cube.
No. Yeah, actually, it was. It was GameCube. It was a re-release dual pack.
The master version.
Yeah,
I have one of those too.
It's a dual pack thing.
This is off topic, but have you seen the YouTube video of the blind video gamer?
Oh yeah.
He plays
plays all of
Ocarina of
the-
Time.
Yeah, he does like he like that's crazy. He like counts beats and
I'm an irrational
noises
fanboy
and-
of the blind video gamer.
You're also an irrational fanboy of ASMR.
Oh, okay. After we say our goodbyes, we're going to do a quick little special edition of the romantic skit ASMR.
No, we're not.
The romantics get
No, we're not.
ASMR'd.
ASMR.
Okay, let's move on to the next question here. Rushlock had a second question. Can we expect more characters in the romantics this season?
Yes.
In
was
this,
quick.
Okay.
in this season?
Yes.
Ooh,
Really?
I have one of my receipts has some dialogue between 2 other characters that
We won't reveal it yet, though.
I'm super proud with that little
Well,
exchange, and I need to see it.
Is there going to be screen time cut from us?
Yep.
'Cause that shouldn't.
Wait,
You guys are no longer in
There's
it.
going to be less of us, more than.
Actually, I'll rephrase that. Is going to be screen time less of me?
I will say. I'll say this.
Whose side are you on, Vince?
I'll say this.
I'm starting your team.
The 4 of us are core characters. We will be introducing some other guest characters.
yeah.
So some supporting cast.
Very interesting.
As of right now, the whole rest of the series is the 4 of us.
The thing that I'm the most nervous about, and this is not necessarily a spoiler, I think it's a fun little tease to throw at people. I am nervous about casting Yoga Pants.
People
doesn't-
ask me constantly, "Are we ever going to get to see Yoga Pants?"
Yeah.
I have
Yes,
an idea, somebody. Also,
You will see Yoga Pants, and the thing that makes me so nervous is I'm a married man, and going and talking to an attractive woman and asking her,
Can
would
we
you
use your butt?
would you please put on these yoga pants and be in our video.
And let me videotape you.
Yes.
People don't say videotape anymore, do they?
I don't see how I can pull that off.
Old people do.
So yeah, you're gonna get to see at least one more, but there are probably gonna be 4 more
But
characters.
just about everybody else that comes in is going to be a guest character,
Right.
and so they'll be in and out of
Yeah,
different.
but
things.
this was never explained. But we're a crime show.
Yeah.
This is my version of Law and Order or The Golden Boy or
Miami Vice,
The Golden Girls.
So it's basically going to be like the 4 of us are Mulder and Scully, and these other characters are going to be like the lone gunmen.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right.
Actually, that's a perfect analogy.
Know your place, new characters out there, whoever you are.
The lone gunmen, though, were like some of the best characters in that show.
I can't believe that episode, that last episode with them.
It's like
I
in
didn't
Austin
see it.
Powers when he's like, when the guy tries to karate chop him. He's like, "Do you know who I am? I'm a main character. You think you could come up and defeat me? No."
All right.
Next question.
Next question comes from Rogue Snowball. Rogue Snowball's been a long time viewer. He always retweets my stuff. Thank you for that.
Rogue says hi to me.
Yes, he does.
Did he say hi to me?
Rogue said, "What kind of schedule do we follow when filming?"
Before we get sunburnt.
Exactly. The sunburn is in the schedule.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I honestly I
No,
don't.
that wasn't anything to you.
Okay. Yeah, so we're trying to release videos every Sunday at 6 o'clock?
Every other Sunday
Every other Sunday at 6.
for this series.
Right, for this one. And that means the weekend that we're not releasing one, we're shooting. We try to do it in just one day because we all have lives. Dan is doing 5 days a week at his job, and asking him to do, oh my gosh, I feel so guilty about it. I feel so guilty.
It keeps us honest.
We try, and Wes is like choking on responsibilities, so just trying to. Vincent's fine. I have no qualms about asking him to do anything. I told Dan he's the most aggressively accessible. What was it? Enthusiastically available person I know. Vincent, hey, do you think maybe sometime you want to? And his answer is always yes before you can
He
finish.
doesn't
the
even let
sentence.
us finish the sentence.
When you say that he's the most aggressively available person that you know, does that also apply to the ladies?
I'm so single. But I am.
Oh, now we got to do a skit called "Aggressively Available Guy,"
And the semantics.
Just
presented
you
by
leaning
the
back in the
semantics.
chair, looking at girls so hard. So we're trying to get it done in a day. We've been shooting on. It looks like we're going to be doing Sundays as the
filming day.
the film day.
Sunday.
Yeah. So I mean, I imagine we'll have to rework
Things
it.
will have to be altered at some point.
Yeah.
I think Dan was talking about possibly moving or just different things coming up. There's no telling what our schedules will end up like. So we're devoted to getting these episodes out every 2 weeks on Sunday. So we'll do whatever we have to do. If we have to shoot a nighttime episode or something, you never know. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But okay. So moving on to the next question. Any funny moments during the shoots?
Oh yeah, lots
No.
of them.
None.
Hate it.
No, never.
It's stupid.
We don't actually break as much. You watch bloopers of other shows, and it seems like you ask yourself, how do they get anything done? And so far, we break very little.
Yeah, we have to. We can't. We don't get to take breaks
I think it's that we're all so nervous and like terrified
of getting
that
it done. Really,
Yeah, it's not funny.
I think it's more of it's all of our bloopers are before we even start. That's the problem. The problem is starting, and then once we get started, then we're pretty fine. But we get started usually pretty late sometimes.
So fine.
I think the biggest thing is we don't have another person to like carry a camera around.
Yeah.
So we're all working the whole time we're doing it. Even if there are bloopers, we can't catch a lot of them. So we have some, and we've got some stuff that's going to come out.
Yeah, we're all very conscious of wasting other people's time.
We're also not costing anyone thousands of dollars an hour if we do screw something up.
Yeah.
So I think that we're fairly okay with getting it out of our systems and laughing about something and having a little conversation instead of just trying to force the moment.
Right.
Because a lot of times you watch those bloopers on sitcoms or whatever, and it's obviously because they're trying to just get right back into what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And they haven't had the opportunity to process why something was funny.
And I laugh at inappropriate times. Like that time I laughed at my great-grandfather's funeral because Wes told me that the singing was coming from the casket.
Okay.
It was an
We
audio
were very
tape.
young.
You guys.
We were children.
He said, the person that's singing, that's the person in the casket. I bust out laughing, and my mom like punched me with an open hand in the back of the head.
That's called a slap.
No, a slap is.
You got palmed.
A slap is when you come this way.
Uh-huh.
It's when you sweep across whatever the target is. She thrust through the target.
Oh, so she did a
It was a karate punch.
she did a Buddhist
the
fist.
the
too. The Buddhist
5
palm.
points palm exploding
Yeah.
heart technique.
Yep.
Exactly.
My eyes came out a little bit and then shot right back in. Wes did not get in trouble for that one.
Yes, I did. Your mom, Aaron, your mom still brings that up at holidays
Okay, at the time
as
you
to
did not
being
get in
irritated at me about it.
trouble. You did not get in trouble at the
Mine and
time.
Dan's childhood.
I could never live it down.
We're awesome.
Wait, what was the question?
The question was
we have-
funny moments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that was a funny moment at a funeral.
Screw around.
All the funny moments for me come when I'm sitting in front of the computer monitor trying to edit things, and then I get to see people's mess ups, and then I can enjoy them. The other day I was pee-peeing my panties watching Dan mess up his
TMI.
No, that's not TMI. There's no such thing as TMI when you're doing a podcast.
You were wearing panties and you were pee-peeing.
Did I mention that I'm a really big fan of Ed Wood? If anyone hasn't seen that movie.
That movie's good.
Yeah,
I only got around to watching that for the first time last year.
I love wearing women's clothes.
so I think we'll be able to put together a fairly fun blooper reel.
Most of our funny stuff on set leads to like 15 minutes of goofing off and like me feeling a little bit stressed out about we got to get this crap done. But we still have to be.
Wes says that, but he is the king of sidetracking with the conversations.
I talk too much.
No, you don't.
I don't actually think he's the king anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, we got Dan here.
Oh,
now.
yeah,
I forgot.
Sorry, guys.
Dan is the sidetracker. All right, so next question. Also from Rogue, what celebrities would we like to play as our characters? Dan.
We may have to come back to that one at a future date.
Dan, who would you like to play your character?
I don't know.
I've got mine.
You got to pick something.
Yeah, we can't pick for each other. Dan's got nothing.
We've got dead air right now.
All
Sorry.
right, Vincent.
I'll do it. I mean, for looks, it'd be Brad Pitt. But who I
He
would
could do
want-
it. He plays a crazy person good.
I actually have that written down
who
right
I'd
here.
want to be. I think Kevin Spacey.
Vincent will say
Kevin
Brad
Spacey.
Pitt.
Yeah. Huh?
He said he had that written down.
What else is in the Notebook?
You'll never know. It's a secret. Aaron?
I kind of actually modeled my character or the dress of my character after Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Sorry, Dan.
I'm going to excuse myself from this table.
He loathes that show.
I think Will Arnett would actually be a pretty great fit for my character.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Maybe I should keep that in mind while I'm playing this character.
I like that answer.
I would like to see John Hamm playing my character.
Jackass. You can't pick him.
Yes, like, why not? It's an actor.
He can.
I want to
I
pick
think
him.
that it would be badass to see him playing a straight character like that. I mean, he's already like that, but playing a character in that situation where he's dealing with a bunch of fuck ups. I mean, he already pretty much thinks he's doing that, so we can bleep that.
Yes, we can.
You've already cursed like twice.
I said damn.
Aaron
We've
gives
already
us the
agreed.
microphone.
We've already discussed
You just
damn.
said it again.
Damn's not a curse word.
And there was also a curse word from that side
Mothers,
of the
gather
table.
your children around the
Another one.
podcast speakers. And let me tell them, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Damn.
Not yet.
So did we all go?
Damn.
Did we all go?
Yeah, I think so. What's the next question?
So I think that's it. That's for questions. But I wanted to just do a little shout out. Humanitarian made a couple of really good posts on our YouTube with some critiques and some, not really a question, but he asked about, is the podcast going to be weekly or whatever? And I'm going to go over the scheduling in a minute when we're done with this. But he made a comment to Dan about Event Horizon, and I just wanted to mention Event Horizon. Because Event Horizon is one of those movies. Horror movies don't scare me. Scary movies are not usually scary to me. So when Event Horizon came out and I watched that, it scared the living crap out of me.
It bothers me. I'm not going to watch it.
It is scary, but I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I love it.
It's too dark for me, man. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, so it's one of those movies that's got an ending that's up for interpretation.
It's definitely on my list now. I really want to watch it. And I had for a while, but I don't know. I'm not a big Sam Neill fan, but I do keep hearing that it's scary and that it's
Sam Neill is a lot
intense.
To me, in that film, Sam Neill is not Sam Neill.
I have never understood your distaste of Sam Neill.
I can kind of understand that because Sam Neill always is like the same.
What has he ever blown you away in?
Yeah,
well, he's never, but he just.
And I get sick of looking at this all the time.
That's hot.
That's his face.
Oh,
You didn't like him in Jurassic
radio jokes.
I liked Jeff Goldblum
me
in
too.
Jurassic Park.
You know what's funny? When that first movie came out and Jeff Goldblum was all chaos theory, I was like, that's the way I'm going to be.
That's damn.
I gotta stop doing that, Aaron. You need to stop swearing.
I'm not.
Oh,
I
my
don't know
God.
how many times we have to.
Jeff
go over this.
Goldblum. Okay, can I take back my answer about that irrational
Sure.
fanboy? Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the most
That's
amazing.
That's a good one. That's like a
damn
good
movie.
cult classic, though.
It's so good. And to me, like, that movie is just like about just friendship and being awesome.
Yeah.
And Jeff Goldblum is so funny in that movie because he wants so badly to be like the rest of them. And he overdoes it. It's
Isn't
awesome.
that the sequel to Earth Girls Are Easy?
No.
No,
Oh.
not at all.
No.
Maybe. Maybe I should watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it.
That's men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I had like an unnecessary infatuation with Jeff Goldblum for a while. It was I don't know, just his like.
Did you write about it in your journal?
I didn't have a journal. I wish I had
Jeff
one.
Goldblum makes me feel
Did you
better
write
about
about it in your diary?
Oh yes.
Diary.
All right, so let's see what's next. Oh, and Humanitarian also asked about the podcast being weekly or whatever. I'm gonna go over the schedule just a little bit, real quick. So we're gonna close this thing out here. We got a new schedule up on YouTube, and the schedule for all future things is going to be Sundays are going to be web series every Sunday. So this Sunday it's going to be the new episode of The Romantics, and then the next Sunday it'll be Man Boy Venture Show, and then Romantics, and then Man Boy Venture Show, and we alternate Sundays like that. So there's some kind of web series content coming out every Sunday. It'll be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going to put up video game full playthrough videos. So there'll be episodes of those. Those will come out 2 days a week. And then on Wednesdays is going to be the official day for the podcast release. I'm not going to set a time for when those come out yet. It'll just be during the day sometime. But they'll probably come out on Tuesday nights, but we're going to schedule them for Wednesdays. That way, because the last video that I uploaded took ages, and I don't know if I can fix that problem yet or not. So, and then Thursdays is going to be all the short highlight videos that we post. So like goofy stuff, funny stuff, clips. If we end up having like more Romantics minis episodes, they'll go up on Thursdays.
That word bothers me.
Minis?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. It just bothers me.
It bothers me a little too.
Like Hearty Meal and
It sounds
minis.
funny.
I don't mind it.
It does sound kind of funny.
Hearty meal.
Yes.
So yeah, and the podcast right now is going to be
Where's he
weekly.
going?
The podcast is going to be
About to
weekly.
leave.
Yeah, what are you doing? That's really weird.
See you later.
I'm addressing the viewer.
And not talking into your mic very well.
You're not talking.
I'm just looking at them.
I hadn't even finished the schedule thing yet.
I'm not interrupting. You're interrupting yourself.
You're leaning into my face.
No, I can see.
All right. So yeah, I don't even know where I was now, but basically the podcast is going to be weekly, and we're thinking also about doing a GURPS podcast, which we're going to try to work out a time for that. So if we end up doing the GURPS podcast, we may have them alternating weeks or something like that. We'll just see how it goes. We may have both coming out every week. We'll see. And on top of that, I just want to say to everybody that's here watching us either on YouTube or via the audio version on the website, which it's also on iTunes now. If you search Filmmaking Noobs or Filmmaking with Noobs or anything on iTunes, you'll find it.
And don't be alarmed. We're about to get a new thumbnail on that.
Yeah, the thumbnail's going to change this week. It's a little bit better, a little bit easier to see. I've got a question for everybody for this week, and we will pick out the best answers, and we'll talk about them again next week. So the question is, and this is related to Aaron's talking about his influences earlier, who's your favorite author and why? And also feel free to list like a book as a representation of why you like that author. And then we'll discuss that next week on the podcast. And then also, as always, the floor is open for any kind of questions on YouTube or the website about media, our film, our web series, any kind of advice you might be seeking. And when we get good stuff posted, we'll use those in our podcast and answer you guys.
Yeah. Add also to the hey, also add to the, like, what's your favorite author? Dude, also comics, because I want to know more comics.
Comics?
Oh, yeah, comic books.
Okay, so we'll add a second question too. Favorite comics, favorite comic author.
Yeah.
Yeah,
favorite
that's
comic
totally valid.
artist, anything.
There's a lot of crossover there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that next week.
Salinger's
so-
take on Batman was
Okay, so next
awful.
week
Get
we'll
out.
plan to talk comic books to some extent as well, and
Oh.
in relation to that.
Love the comments. I just want to ask that we keep them respectful, especially if they're going to be about my body. So
Oh man, that ruins what
Hey,
I was going to
when
post.
I try to think of your body, it's hard to be respectful. I can only think of your body in disrespectful terms.
I thought you said my potty.
Your
I did say your body.
He hasn't seen your potty.
He's used my potty.
Oh, yes, he
destroyed your
has.
potty.
Do you?
Okay,
I pooped real hard.
this
in
is
your
a
potty.
terrible way to end this podcast talking about pooping in toilets.
Where else? Well, that's the only. I mean, that's an appropriate place to do it.
Well, yeah, but we don't talk about it much.
I'll never be seen as an adult with content like this.
No, you won't.
Nope.
But that's okay. You got something to say, Dan? You look like you got something to say.
I did, but I don't know if it's really appropriate to just tack on to the end of the episode.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
MCA from the Beastie Boys died a year ago today.
Right.
And I just wanted to point out to everyone that he was the champ.
Oh, it was today?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the champ, and we were the challenger. He had more stories than JD had Salinger.
That's a nice tribute.
Goodbye,
Nice
Jake.
tribute.
Goodbye, everyone.
This is the end.
I'm gonna,
Is it?
God,
Well, now-
I'm gonna do it again. Hold on.
All right.
Well,
Let's
now
all
if we
say
don't have it at the
good.
end-
No,
Let's
hold
all
on.
say
It's gonna
goodbye.
be like saying goodbye to somebody, then have to walk the same way.
Yes.
You know?
Oh,
That is a big damn no-no, man.
I feel as awkward as that right now. Actually,
I
Yeah,
feel,
don't hug me and say goodbye and then walk another 15 feet. I'll shove you over.
Yeah.
I feel weird.
You would.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
bad person.
So,
okay. Let's all say bye. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios, muchachos.
goodbye.
All right, we're done.
Okay. Now, before we take off our headset, I need to be ASMR'd hard. I want this footage. I want this footage. Maybe you can do something with it. I don't know.
Well,
But-
I can use the footage at the end as like the outro with no sound anyway. So
My ears hurt real bad.
Dan, keep your headset off. And guys, delight my senses, please, right now. Damn it, just get up to the mic.
I will not be used.
Dan, I'm not using you. Just get on that.
what? Oh my gosh!
Get up.
Oh, whoa! There's your ASMR right there. man. Look at him. He's never had one like
How
that.
bad that was.
He's never had one like that before.
Oh my gosh.
That's why you turn your headset down.
That poked a hole in my heart, man.
That was good. I'm taking my headset off before any more explosions
Bye, guys.
happen.
Hey guys,
Oh goodness gracious!
welcome to the
No
romantic.
ASMR for you, Aaron.
Hey guys, welcome to the romantic. Damn it, man.
I'm stopping it, Aaron.
Hey guys, welcome to the ASMR channel. Hey guys, welcome to the Romantics Presents.
Womp.
Hey guys, welcome to the
Womp.
Guys,
Well, see, you're just like whispering. Or I thought it was like you're supposed to talk really.
welcome to the first edition of the Romantics Present ASMR.
Womp.
We've got a delightful assortment of noises for you. We're gonna do some light. We're gonna do some light fingernail tapping for you.
Tapping.
A very small amount of role play. So right here I have my green notebook. I bought this about 2 weeks ago. Thank you. This has been ASMR presented by the